against him. And, on and on and on, these verses were just like gushing out of me about destiny. And the last one was, ask of me and I will give you the nations as an inheritance. And the whole time I'm prophesying, I am seeing like this hand coming up out of the, I don't know, smoky muck kind of crap. And it was horrible. Like the hair was like partially missing, and they looked like their faces were all sunk in and their eyes were sunk in and kind of lifeless, and they were filthy, and the hair was all like just different lengths, I guess, and they were wearing like it looked like a gray kind of pillowcase sort of thing, and ragged and just awful, just skinny. But the more that I prophesied and spoke the word over them and decreed the love of God, a lot of those verses were about how much, Jesus so loved you that he gave himself for you. He gave himself for you. He gave himself for you. Come, receive the Lord. The thief comes not but for to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that you might have life and have it abundantly. And I was just speaking all this word, and I began to see change. Like, first of all, their faces kind of began to fill out and lose the filth. And their eyes began to get bright. And their hair started to actually look decent, And little by little, they're coming up out of this treasure chest, morphing into a good-looking human. And by the time they were full grown, or fully at the top of the smoky stuff down here, they were wearing, each one of them was wearing like a different outfit. One had like a doctor's outfit on with the stethoscope, and they stepped out of the trunk and nodded at me and walked out of the cave. And the next one looked like a teacher, had a little clipboard and a little pencil, red pencil behind her ear, and I knew she was a teacher. And like each one of them, there was a chef with a big white hat. And the more I kept speaking the word, the more these people were coming up out of gray bondage, is all I can say, coming up into their destiny. And by the time I finished all the people in that second trunk, I was so enthused, I said to the Lord, can I open the second trunk? And he's like, by all means. And, I spent a lot of time that day just speaking over the hidden treasure. And so many times in life, we look at people and we just see dirt. We're kind of like coal miners, or where we should be gold miners. Coal miners, they're always dirty, and coal is always dirty. But gold miners, they're always dirty too, digging in the dirt, but they're looking for something precious. And so many times, there's gold in every single person. And if we dig a little bit, and it might take some digging, it might take some speaking the word over a person, it might take tenacity in prayer. God, open my eyes, show me the gold in this person. There's got to be some. But if we're gold diggers instead of dirt diggers, anybody can dig dirt out of a gold mine, right? Anybody. But it takes a special miner to find the gold. And that's our call as Christians. We are called to find the gold in every single person and speak the word of God over them until it comes full to light so that everybody can see the gold. Well, that's the end of my story, and we will be back in a few minutes to check on our bread. All right, well, it looks like our dough is rising quite nicely. Something in there. I don't know what. So we're going to take the dough, and we're actually just going to push it down, work all the air back out of it. And, this is another place that bread is really giving. I have forgotten that I was raising bread before and come and found the dough hanging over the edges of the pan. And I have been in a hurry and not let it rise as much as it needed to. It came out fine either way, it doesn't matter. So, like I said, we punch it down. And now we are going to spray, not my arm, pan. And we're going to take about half of the dough and we're going to make a loaf of bread. And then I thought, we have a small family. There's just 3 of us. So a loaf of bread lasts a little while at our house. So I thought we might do something fun with some of the rest of the loaf. First of all, we shape it kind of into a long, like that. Whatever you want. A long roll kind of deal. And then that's going to go back in the oven to rise again for another hour. And I'm going to actually warm up the oven again just the way I did before, but not until I get this other piece of bread going. So tonight we're going to have falafel, and so I thought it'd be nice if we had some homemade buns maybe to eat. Those falafel is kind of like your bean burger, I guess. Right now we're on a little bit of a vegetarian fast as a family, and so we're exploring new and different things to eat. So I just kind of took a ball, made it nice and flat, spread it out, because this is going to rise about double its size. So if you're talking about making a bun, then that's probably a little big, but oh well. Like I said, it doesn't matter too much. Then I also thought we might make something else, maybe some cheese stuffed bread. For that you're going to want some pretty sharp cheese. I like to use goat cheese when I stuff bread. Maybe some chopped olives with it, or chopped mushrooms. Or we could make a pizza crust. The same dough works well for that. I just kind of work in some Italian herbs whenever I'm getting it ready. Let's see here. So I want to give a special shout out to my granddaughter Trinity today, who's helping me videotape. Can you turn that camera around on yourself, Trinity, and say hello to everyone? Maybe?
I'll just come around.
Okay, there you go.
Hi everyone.
This is Trinity,
Okay.
my amazing 16-year-old granddaughter. All right, we're going to take a short break and let this dough rise. I'll be back in a second to show you how to do the other piece of bread. Welcome back. As you can see, I'm just kind of stretching out this dough. And you can also roll it. Like I have a beautiful marble rolling surface here, but I just am kind of I like to touch everything kind of person. So I pull on the dough and stretch it. I just dumped on a bunch of black olives, and we're gonna make like a Greek bread out of the rest of this. Jenny, Noel, don't you make that face. This is feta. I've dumped a bunch of feta cheese on. And I'm gonna dump a little bit more. Feta cheese has never been opened, and it doesn't like me trying to open it either. No, there's no measurements for this. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to roll this up. And I'm kind of rolling and squeezing. Can you see the little fingerprints in there? I'm just squeezing it up. All I'm doing is like working the feta cheese and the olives into the bread. And we're just kind of going to make sure everything is sealed up real nice and tight. No little black olives peeking out of there trying to escape the bread. And then I'm just gonna put it on a cookie sheet that's been well oiled. And we're gonna put that in the oven with everything else and let it rise for an hour. We'll be back then to see the great results. Well, the timer just went off and it's been an hour, so let's take a look at our bread. Oh, look at this. It's lovely. The bread has risen. You remember it was just a little long roll here, and now it's all high and looking good. Our little buns that I made look very nice. And of course, everything will rise even more when we bake it. And the goat cheese and black olive bread looks nice too. So we're gonna go ahead, and all I do, I don't preheat my oven. I simply turn it on. And I bake everything. Well, the loaves will bake for 30 minutes, and probably the buns will bake for about 15 minutes. So we will catch up when the bread is done. And you can watch me eat it and drool. So I just took the bread out of the oven. Doesn't it look yummy? And it smells so good. And we always cool bread lying on its side. Now, there are a couple of other secrets that I'll tell you. If you want to leave your bread cool on the counter and you would like its crust to be like store-bought bread, just soft and easy to cut, then you can take milk and just brush it all over the loaf of bread. Now, I used to do that, but of today, the reason that the bread is soft in the store is because it's bagged immediately when it comes out of the oven. So I also bag my bread immediately when it comes out of the oven. And I know that most of your recipes are going to say let it cool completely, but my bag does have, you can see here, a few holes in it, and I don't really close it tight, but I let it sit right there on its side and look beautiful. Now let's check that last loaf of bread that we have in the oven. Oh, yum! Look at this. It looks so good. Now this part looks like it may not quite be done. So what I do with bread that I'm not positive about how long it should cook, because I either just created it myself or I've never made it before, is I just kind of go for the middle with a little poker here. You can use a fondue stick. A little difficult with this because you don't know if it's cheese or dough. I don't know. I'm gonna say that's done. The fork came out pretty clean, especially with all the cheese we put in there. So this one I'm gonna let it just sit here on the counter and rest for a few minutes. Oh, I promised you the opportunity to drool, didn't I? Wait. So I'll also teach you the trick to cutting fresh bread. There is nothing more difficult than trying to cut a piece of bread that's fresh out of the oven. It just all wants to squish down into a big fat mess of dough. So here's the key. Really sharp knife, and we puncture the crust with the tip of the knife. Could you see that? Okay. And then we're just going to slide it in there, and we're going to kind of saw. So we're going to saw slowly and gently. Now if you have a bowl in your kitchen full of mussels, he is not the person you want cutting your bread if it's warm and it needs to be cut. It needs to be done slowly and with a really sharp knife. So here it is. I can eat this without butter. Have a great day.